Well, good evening and welcome to Weslaco, Texas. We are on the campus of Weslaco High School, Weslaco Panther Baseball Stadium for a district matchup between your Weslaco Panthers and the visiting Edinburg Economedes Jaguars. A must-win for both teams as we close out the season this week, home here and in Edinburg against the same Jaguars. Let's go ahead and give you the starting lineup for the Jaguars and their batting order. Leading things off will be the center fielder, John Carrion, batting second. The shortstop, Alex Garcia. Batting third is the catcher, Gilbert Rodriguez. Batting fourth in the cleanup spot is the third baseman, Rene Rios. Batting fifth will be the pitcher, Josiah Villarreal. Batting sixth, the first baseman, Jose Rios. Batting seventh, Adiel Benavides, the second baseman. And the leadoff batter, John Carrion, with a dribbler to the second baseman, Diego Castillo. Picks that one up on about the third hop, fires it to first for the first out. As we mentioned, batting seventh, Ariel Benavides playing second base. Batting eighth, the left fielder, Jose Perez. And batting ninth, the designated hitter, Ramon Ramirez. Defensively, your Panthers line up like this: in left field, Evan Rodriguez; in center field, Toby Perez; in right field, Isaiah Garza; at third base is Luis Lopez; at second base, Diego Castillo; at first base, Gael Villarreal. The shortstop is Joseph Banda. Behind the plate doing the catching, Ethan Silva. And on the mound tonight for your Panthers is John Reyna. First two pitches to the second batter have been in one called strike and one a swing and a missed strike. So nothing to the count to the shortstop, Alex Garcia. Swing and a missed, strike three. So Reyna records his first strikeout of the night. Retires the first two batters that he does face, and that'll bring up the catcher, Gilbert Rodriguez.
Batting for the Jaguars, number 3, Gilbert Rodriguez.
First pitch swung at, fouled back into the netting for strike one. Nothing in one to count to the batter, Gilbert Rodriguez. Breaking ball, missing a little high for ball one. Swung on, that's going to be fouled down the third base line. And again, Reyna finds himself ahead in the count. This time to the third batter, Gilbert Rodriguez. 1-2 is the count. Here comes the 1-2. That misses just a bit outside for ball two. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the catcher, Gilbert Rodriguez. Steps out of the box momentarily, back in. And the 2-2 pitch is on its way. Swung on, high bouncer to the first baseman, Gael Villarreal. He grabs that one, tags the bag for out number 3. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for your Panthers. And they are coming to bat here in their bottom half of the first. No score between the Jaguars and your Panthers. Panthers coming up to bat here in the bottom of the first inning, and they will bat in this order. Leading things off is the center fielder, Toby Perez. Batting second, the left fielder, Evan Rodriguez. Batting third, the pitcher, John Reyna. In the cleanup position is the second baseman, Diego Castillo. Batting five is the right fielder, Isaiah Garza. Batting sixth, the shortstop, Joseph Banda. Batting seventh would be the third baseman, Luis Lopez. Batting eighth, the catcher, Ethan Silva. And batting ninth is the designated hitter, Jesse Cantu. Jaguars line up like this defensively. They will have Joseph Concha in left field. They'll have John Carrion in in center field. In right field, it's Josiah Concha. At third base, it's Rene Rios. At second base, Adiel Benavides. At first base, Jose Rios. The shortstop is Alex Garcia. Behind the plate doing the catching is Gilbert Rodriguez. And on the mound tonight for the Jaguars is Josiah Villarreal. That pitch is fouled off down the right side of the field. It's going to sail out of play, and the count to the leadoff batter, the Our Lady of the Lake University signee, Toby Perez, is 2 balls and 2 strikes. The umpiring crew for tonight's ball game is a 2-man crew. On the bases is Roman Guerra, and behind the plate, calling the balls and strikes, Mario Caballero. 2-2 pitch is on its way. Breaking ball hit right back up the middle for a base hit. So the leadoff batter, Toby Perez, gets his job done, as you always like to see in the game of baseball, is the leadoff batter on base, and that's exactly what Perez did. 2-2 count, took the breaking ball right up the middle for a base hit, and that'll bring up the left fielder, Evan Rodriguez. Rodriguez is batting .294 this season for your Panthers. Rodriguez steps into the box. Showing bunt, puts it down the third base line. Pitcher picks it up, goes to first, and gets the runner, Rodriguez, at first. But Rodriguez does what he was called to do, and that is advance Perez over to second. And with 1 out, that'll bring up the pitcher, John Reyna. Reyna batting .444 on the season, has the best batting average of the four-year Panthers so far this season. Takes that first pitch, it's low for ball 1. Swing and a miss for strike 1. Way ahead of that breaking ball from Villarreal. So the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. That one is hit right up the middle, basically where Perez's ball went. And that's going to be an RBI single for Banda. For Reyna, excuse me. And Reyna has 12 RBI on the season. And that'll bring up Diego Castillo, the second baseman. And now your Panthers are up 1-0. Back to first. Runner in, plenty of time. Got a pinch runner out there, and that's Solis. One out here in the bottom of the first. Panthers up 1-0. Swing and a miss, strike one. Sun still out here as this game started at 7 o'clock. Sun usually sets about 8 o'clock here in South Texas. It's a beautiful night for baseball. 82 degrees is the temperature right now. It'll drop a couple degrees as the night progresses. A little bit of a wind from the east-southeast at about 14 miles an hour. Swung on and fouled back, and the count is 0-2. So it's blowing out sort of to right center field. So Castillo finds himself behind in the count, 0-2. Takes that one on the corner for strike three. And Villarreal has his first recorded strikeout of the night. And with 2 outs, a runner at first. That'll bring up the right fielder, Isaiah Garza. Garza is batting .358 this season. A left-handed batter for your Panthers. Pickoff attempt over there to first. Solis, as we mentioned, is the pinch runner, back in plenty of time. Talking to the coaches before the game, and we were talking about these new fields, and now they come up clean. They don't have all that dirt all over them as Solis would have had already, going head first twice back to first base. Swing and a miss on the first pitch to Garza, and it's 0-1. Swung on, hit hard to center field. Carrion going back, and he is going to catch it over his shoulder. What a great grab there by Carrion, because he had to jump on his horse and just take off to deep center field, and he was able to make that catch for the third out. However, your Panthers do score 1 run on 2 hits. Do leave 1 man stranded, and we played 1 inning of baseball here at Panther Baseball Field. And at the end of 1, it is your Panthers 1, the Jaguars 0. Jaguars coming to bat here in the second inning with batters 4, 5, and 6. Rene Rios, Josiah Villarreal, and Jose Rios, all to face the pitcher, John Reyna. Swings at the first pitch. He sees it's going to center field, and back goes the center fielder Perez. Can't catch up to it, and it's a leadoff double for Rene Rios. So the first hit for the Jaguars is a double off the bat of Rene Rios. And that'll bring up the pitcher Josiah Villarreal.
Batting for the Jaguars, number 23, Josiah Villarreal.
Villarreal calls time. Bat not sticky enough. Oh, he forgot his armband with all the plays on it. First pitch on the inside part of the plate for strike one. Pitcher pitches the ball right back at him, and he's got the runner in a rundown. And they waited too long for that one. And because of the error, you got now runners at second and third with nobody out. Rios was caught in a rundown, and Banda did the right thing going at him. But once the runner commits to go one way, you've got to throw the ball. So you got runners at second and third with nobody out. That'll bring up the first baseman, Jose Rios.
Number 9, Jose Rios.
Swings at the first pitch, and it goes back into the netting for strike one. Here comes the 0-1. High and outside for ball one. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count to Jose Rios. Swing and a miss for strike two. Bouncer to the second baseman, off his knees. Good show there by Castillo. Looks at the runner, forces him back, decides to go to first for out number 1. What a good play there by Castillo, as he had to come up quick for that one. Got down to his knees and looked back the runner on third. Secured the one out that he could. So we got 1 down, runners at second and third, and that'll bring up Adiel Benavides, the second baseman for the Jaguars. Swing and a miss, strike one. Infield for your Panthers playing up at the grass level. That pitch in the turf. Good job there by Silva to make sure it doesn't stray too far away. And it's ball one. 1 ball, 1 strike to the batter, Benavides. Breaking ball swung on and missed for strike 2. Good looking pitch there from Reina as he got Benavides to swing at that one. Nate Benavides was just way ahead of it. Outside part of the plate for strike 3. So after getting allowing the first 2 batters to get aboard a double and on an error, Reyna comes back and gets the next two batters. There are two outs here in the top of the second. And the batter is now the left fielder, Jose Perez. Chance for the Panthers to get out of this one unscathed. Breaking ball over the plate for strike one. Reyna wasting no time. Fastball, low, ball one. High chopper to the shortstop, Banda. He picks it up, goes to first for out number 3. Good job there by Banda as he had to wait for that one to come down, and he fires it to first to Villarreal for the third out. So as we mentioned, the Jaguars get the first two batters aboard, but then it's a ground out to second, a strikeout, and a ground out to short to end the inning. So no runs, one hit, 2 runners left on, no errors. 1-0 Panthers on top as we head to the bottom of the second. Lopez and Silva. Joseph Banda, the shortstop, batting .295 this season, just ended the inning on that high chopper he had to wait for and then fire a perfect strike to first. So good play by him. Now he bats facing Villarreal of the Jaguars. First pitch high and away for ball one. Swung on, chopper to third. Rios waits for it, fires the first, and gets the out. So Banda grounds out to the third baseman, Rene Rios, and that'll bring up Luis Lopez, the third baseman.
Off the bat for your Panthers, number 20, Luis Lopez.
First pitch to Lopez. Breaking ball outside for ball one. That is low for ball two. 2-0 count to Lopez. Swung on, chopper to the shortstop. Comes across, fires the first, and that is out number 2. So the first two Panthers ground out to third and to short, and that'll bring up the catcher, Ethan Silva.
Batting for your Panthers, number 8, Ethan Silva.
First pitch to Silva. Breaking ball inside for ball 1. Lights have been turned on here at Panther Stadium as the sun is beginning to make its way down, but right now the clouds are kind of covering it. Swing and a miss, strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike is the count to Ethan Silva. It seems like there's only clouds to the west right now. Pretty clear right here on top of the stadium. That pitch is low for ball 2. Villarreal starting to bring his motion a little bit more to a 3/4 pitch. He drops that arm a little bit. Swung on, foul ball down the right side of the field, and it's going to sail out of play. Jose Rios, the first baseman, giving chase to it, but he runs out of real estate as it does make its way into the stands over there down the first base side of the field. So the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. That one is inside to make the count full. Payoff pitch on its way to Silva. That is inside for ball 4. So the Panthers have a runner on here in the bottom of the 2nd inning, and that'll bring up the designated hitter, Jesse Cantu.
For your Panthers, number 17, Jesse J. Cantu.
We're going to have a pinch runner for the catcher, Silva, and that's going to be Mendiola. Takes a crack at the first pitch and misses for strike 1. Hits that pitch right by the shortstop. Garcia moved over to his right just a little too far for him to gab, and that's going to be a base hit for Cantu. So with 2 outs, your Panthers have a walk and a base hit. Runners on first and second. We go to the top of the order, and it's going to be Toby Pettis. Pettis is 1 for 1 tonight. He singled and he scored in the first inning. Swings at the first pitch, fouls it down the right field line, and it's out of play for strike 1. Outside for ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike to Toby Pettis. Breaking ball just a bit high for ball 2. Inside, ball 3. The count now is 3 balls and a strike to Perez. Ball 4. So the bases are now loaded with Panthers. A walk, a single, and another walk. And that'll bring up the left fielder, Evan Rodriguez.
To bat for your Panthers, number 15, Evan Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, a sacrifice bunt in the first inning to move Toby Perez over, putting him in scoring position in the first inning. This time he comes to bat with 2 outs and the bases loaded. First pitch in the turf for ball 1. That pitch is going to be a little low for ball 2. Villarreal's already walked 2 here in the second, behind in the count 2-0. And that one is high for ball 3. Here comes the 3-0. And that's going to catch Rodriguez, but nonetheless, he's going to be on base and a runner will score. So the score now is 2-0. Panthers on top, and the bases remain loaded with 2 outs, and that'll bring up Big John Reyna. Reyna, as we mentioned, the hit leader for your Panthers, batting .444 on the season. He had that single back in the first. He's 1 for 1 tonight. That was also an RBI single for him right up the middle. Both him and Toby Perez lined right up the middle. There's a coaches conference happening on the pitcher's mound, and while they are chatting things over Villarreal, let us talk a little bit about the standings here in the district. In the district so far this season, it's PSJA up on top with an 8-0 record. La Jolla in second, 5-3. Those two are going to the playoffs for sure. Then you got Weslaco, Edinburg, and Economedes. Weslaco and Edinburg at 4-4. Economedes at 3-5. Economedes, for the most part, has to win both games in this series to make the playoffs. Weslaco needs to win 1 for sure. 2 of them, and they're in for sure. They win 1, they do need a little bit of help. Or a couple things need to happen. Let's just put it that way. They don't need help, just things need to happen. First pitch to Reyna, missing for ball 1. Second pitch high for ball 2. Swing and a miss for strike 1. Reyna was going for that one. As Reyna's still looking for his first home run of the season. That pitch is high for ball 3. Swing and a miss, a good breaking ball from Villarreal. And Reyna was just way ahead of that one. And the count is now full. Bases loaded, full count, 2 out, Reyna at the plate. And Villarreal will step off. Villarreal steps off again. Here comes the payoff pitch. Runners will be going. Got him looking, and that's strike 3. The Panthers do get 1 run on 1 hit, leave the bases loaded. We go to the 3rd inning. Panthers up 2-0.
42 pitches.
Jaguars coming to bat here in the 3rd inning, and they will send batters 9, 1, and 2. It'll be Ramon Ramirez, John Carrion, and Alex Garcia. Panthers up 2-0 as we start the 3rd inning. Reina, first pitch, swung on. That's going to be in the left center gap, and will it be a double? No, it'll be a single as they hold Ramirez at first base. So Ramirez takes a whack at the first pitch, knocks it into the left center gap to get the leadoff batter on for the 2nd straight inning for the Jaguars. And we head to the top of the order. It's John Carrion. Carrion is 0 for 1 tonight, grounded out to the 2nd baseman, Diego Castillo, in the 1st inning. Run at first, nobody out. Showing bunt, puts it down right at Reina. Reina goes to first for the out. So a sacrifice bunt by Carrion. Moves Ramirez over to second. And if you feel like you just saw that play, it's because you did. Panthers did it in the 1st inning. That'll bring up Alex Garcia. He is 0 for 1 tonight. Struck out swinging in the 1st inning. First pitch is a fastball right over the plate for strike 1. Swung on and missed, strike 2. Here comes the 0-2. Reina steps off the mound as Ramirez takes a little bit of a lead out there. Wants to make sure that he stays within striking zone. 0-2 pitch on its way. Swing and a miss, strike 3. That is the third strikeout for Reina tonight. And with 2 outs, that'll bring up Gilbert Rodriguez. Rodriguez grounded out to Villarreal in the first inning. He's 0 for 1. Well, we've got a little bit of time. Gayet Villarreal, as we just mentioned his name right now, recently signed to play baseball at Ottawa College in Arizona. So congratulations to Villarreal. First pitch to Rodriguez is low and outside for ball 1.
That is the Jaguars number 3, Gilbert Rodriguez.
Outside ball 2. Inside ball 3. Rodriguez ahead in the count, 3-0. Outside corner for strike 1. 3 balls and 1 strike on the batter, the catcher Gilbert Rodriguez. Outside corner, strike 2. Good looking pitch there from Reina, excuse me. Swung on, chopper to the shortstop. Banda does fire to first in time for out number 3. So the Jaguars get their leadoff runner on, move him over to second. That's where he stays stranded. And the score still is your Weslaco Panthers 2, the Jaguars 0. Coming to bat here in the bottom of the third inning, and it'll be Castillo, Garza, and Banda due up for your Panthers. Castillo is 0 for 1 tonight. Struck out looking back in the first inning. First pitch is fouled back for strike one. That is off the inside part of the bat, grounded up to first base. Rios picks it up, goes and steps on the bag for out number one. That'll bring up Isaiah Garza. Garza with that beautiful hit to center field that was caught by Carrion on the run at the warning track. He hit it well. First pitch on the outside part of the plate for strike one. That one is right at the second baseman. Benavides picks it up. First base, that is out number two. It's going to bring up Joseph Banda, grounded out to the third baseman. Back in the first inning, he's 0 for 1 tonight.
For your Panthers, number 2, Joseph Banda.
First pitch to Banda inside for ball one. Ball two. Swung on and missed for strike one. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ball three. Swung on, grounder right back to Villarreal, the pitcher, and he walks over, tosses it over to first base for out number 3. So it's a 1-2-3 inning for the Jaguars, and we played 3 here in Weslaco. And at the end of 3, it's your Weslaco Panthers 2, the Economedes Jaguars 0. As Vinny Berry, the dancing cameraman, brings us to the fourth inning. Coming up for the Jaguars is going to be Rene Rios, Josiah Villarreal, and Jose Rios. Batters 4, 5, and 6. All to face the Panthers starting pitcher, John Reyna. First pitch, a good-looking curveball in there for strike one. That may have been even a sinker. Not sure how that ball ended up over there. Apparently there's a ball down behind the Weslaco logo. Swung on and missed for strike two. So 0-2 is the count to Rios. That is hit hard to left center field, and that's going to drop for a base hit. So Rios, with his second hit of the night, has a double and a single as he led off the second and now the fourth. And the last 3 innings, the Jaguars have gotten their leadoff batter on. That'll bring up the pitcher, Josiah Villarreal. He reached on an error back in the second. Swings at the first pitch, and that basically went exactly where Rios' hit went. And that's going to be a double for Villarreal. And just like in the second inning, we've got runners at second and third with nobody out. Let's see if we can replicate what exactly happened in the second inning and come back and get the next 3 batters.
Jaguars number 9, Jose Rios.
Villarreal protective gear handed over to the coach. Now we're ready to get back to live action. Here comes the first pitch to Rios. Fastball. Fouled back for strike one. Rios goes and has a few words with the coach down at third baseline. Now he's back in the box. Pitch inside for ball one. One ball, one strike to Rios. That's a chopper to the third baseman. Coming home for the runner, and they get him. Good job there by Luis Lopez as they catch Rios at home, and an errant throw to third base gets a runner to score. So Rios reaches on a fielder's choice as they get the runner going home in Rene Rios. An errant throw to try to get Villarreal, who had turned a little too far off at third, allows him to score. The ball goes to the wall, which allows Rios to get to third. So the Jaguars get one run, and that'll bring up Adiel Benavides, the second baseman. He is 0 for 1 tonight, struck out looking his first time at the plate in the second inning. He watches that first pitch go by for a strike. Swung on, high fly ball, shallow field, and it drops for a Texas Leaguer base hit, and that'll score another run. So a Texas Leaguer from Benavides has tied this one up at 2. So there is one out, a runner at first. That'll bring up the left fielder, Jose Perez. Perez 0 for 1 tonight, a ground out to the shortstop, Joseph Banda. First pitch to Perez, swung on and missed for strike 1.
Right, the Jaguar number 12, Jose Perez.
Outside for ball 1. Perez hugging the plate. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Right on top of the inside line of the batter's box, and he also chucks up quite a bit on that bat. Going to first is Reina. Benavides back in plenty of time. 1-2 is the count to Benavides. One out here in the top of the 4th. Swing and a miss, strike 3. 4th strikeout recorded by Reina tonight. That makes it 2 outs here in the 4th inning, and that'll bring up Ramon Ramirez, the designated hitter. He is 1 for 1 tonight. Knocked one into the left center gap his first time at the plate. Watches the first pitch go by for a strike. Runner going, throw on its way, not in time. So Benavides has himself a stolen base. So we've got a runner in scoring position for the batter, Ramirez. 1-1 is the count. High for ball 2. In there for strike 2. Good looking pitch there from Reina, right at the knees of Ramirez. Here comes the 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And he's going to be safe. Silva dropped the baseball. First base was empty. And it allowed Ramirez to get on. Benavides smartly advances to third base. And there are 2 outs with runners at the corner. And we go to the top of the order. And it'll be John Carrion. He's 0 for 1 in a sacrifice bunt tonight. Check swing into the Jaguar dugout for strike 1. Oh, 1 pitch. Outside corner for strike 2. Nothing to 2 the count on the batter, Carrion. That's going to be a grounder between the third and shortstop. And that's going to be an RBI single for Carrion. And now the Jaguars are up 3-2.
Jaguars number 4, Alex Garcia.
So Ramirez will advance to second. Carrion is at first. And that's going to bring up Alex Garcia. He has struck out twice tonight. First pitch over for strike 1. Outside corner for strike 2. That one a fastball. And 3 straight fastballs, and he strikes out Alex Garcia for the 3rd time tonight. But the Jaguars do get 3 across to take the lead here in their half of the 4th inning. We head to the bottom of the 4th. It is the Economedes Jaguars 3, your Weslaco Panthers 2. Well, they were playing Baby Shark in between the innings, and if you thought that song was only for toddlers, well, you're mistaken, because our Vinny Berry doing his best rendition of the Baby Shark. Panthers coming to bat here in the bottom of the fourth inning, trailing 3-2. And it'll be Luis Lopez, Ethan Silva, and Jesse Cantu. 7, 8, and 9 coming to the plate for your Panthers. First pitch inside for ball one. Second pitch right on the outside corner for strike one. 1 ball and 1 strike on the batter, Luis Lopez. Outside for ball two. Two and one is the count. That's going to be low for ball three. 3 balls and a strike is the count to the batter, Luis Lopez. He is 0 for 1 tonight, grounded out to the shortstop back in the second inning. That's a ground ball to the second baseman, picked up by Benavides, fired to Rios for out number 1. That's going to bring up the catcher, Ethan Silva. Ethan walked and scored back in the second inning. Silva in the box with the pink batting gloves. And the first pitch is fouled back for strike one. A breaking ball for strike two. That one broke from one zip code to the next. So the count is 0-2. Swung on and missed for strike three. No, they're going to say he fouled it back. So the count will remain 0-2. Usually can hear those when they foul tip them because of the aluminum, but that time I didn't hear anything. But, of course, the umpire, Mario Caballero, right there on top of it, calling it a foul ball. That is going to be inside for ball one. One ball, 2 strikes to the batter, Ethan Silva. That is way outside for ball two. Two count. Outside for ball three. The count now is full. Here comes the payoff pitch. Well, we're going to have to wait for that as Silva does call time. Now we're ready for the payoff pitch. It's on its way. That's going to be low for ball four. So Silva, second time he is walked tonight, and that'll bring up the designated hitter, Jesse Cantu. Cantu is 1 for 1 tonight.
Now batting for your Panthers, number 17, Jesse James Cantu.
Had a single back in the second. Takes a whack at the first pitch, fouls it back into the netting for strike one. High for ball one. 1 ball, 1 strike is the count to Cantu. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Going back to first. Plenty of time. Looks like we got a pinch runner, Mendiola, out there for the catcher, Silva. Swung on, fouled back. Count will remain 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here comes the 1-2, breaking ball, missing for ball 2. Here comes the 2-2. In the turf for ball 3. Count now is full. Runner at first in Mendiola. Pinch running for Silva. 1 out. Full count to the batter, Jesse Cantu. Cantu calls time. Villarreal steps off the rubber, now back on. Here comes a payoff pitch. Runner going, ball 4. Back-to-back walks issued by Villarreal. Now runners at first and second, 1 out. We go to the top of the order, and that's going to be Toby Perez. He's 1 for 1 and a walk. He's also scored back in the first. Perez is going to go talk things over with the coach as the Edinburg coach comes on. And that's going to do it for Villarreal. He is done for the night. Leaves with a lead 3-2. However, runners at first and second, those are his. And looks like we've got a new pitcher on the mound for the Jaguars, and that's going to be number 2, the shortstop. I'm sorry, that's not the shortstop. It's going to be the third baseman, Rene Rios. So Rios will come to the mound, and we'll see him as soon as we come back from this break. Jaguars up 3-2. We've got a new pitcher on the mound for the Jaguars. And that pitcher is Rene Rios. We'll try to see who is at third base for you in just a bit. But Rios comes in with a lead 3-2. However, there are runners at first and second. Those are going to be attributed to Villarreal. And the first batter he is going to face is Toby Perez, the Our Lady of the Lake University signee. Swing and a miss, strike one, as he chases the first pitch. Perez, as we mentioned before, he came to bat, or before we went to timeout, he is 1 for 1 and a walk. He did score in the first inning. Swung on, that one is hit. It's a base hit to left field. That'll move the runners over. And now the bases are loaded. And that's going to bring up Evan Rodriguez. Rodriguez sacrificed bunt in the first inning. Was hit by the pitch in the second inning. He comes in to bat in the fourth with one out and the bases loaded. First pitch swung on into right field, and it's going to drop. One run will score. They're sending the second runner in. Concha could not play that one. And that's a 2 RBI double for Rodriguez. And you got runners at first and second. That'll be up John Reyna. Reyna is 1 for 2 tonight. An RBI single in the first, struck out looking in the second. Now the Panthers up 4-3. Off of that bloop single, or double better yet, by Rodriguez. Reyna calls time. First pitch, missing for ball one. Swung on and missed, strike one. Fly ball to right field, Concha under it. This time he makes the grab, tagging to go to third is Perez, and he's safely on third. So there are 2 outs here in the fourth inning, and that'll bring up Diego Castillo. Castillo is 0 for 2 tonight, strikeout and a ground out.
Number 1, Diego Castillo.
He's got runners at the corner with 2 outs. First pitch is in there for strike one. Swung on, fouled back into the netting for strike two. Nothing into the count. Swing and a miss, strike three. That'll do it for your Panthers, but they do get 2 runs back here in the fourth to recapture the lead. We played 4 innings here at Panther Baseball Stadium, and at the end of 4, it's your Weslaco Panthers 4, the Jaguars 3. We head to the 5th inning. Reyna still on the mound for your Panthers, and he'll be facing batters 3, 4, and 5 for the Jaguars. That's going to be Rodriguez, Rios, and Villarreal. Rodriguez is 0 for 2 tonight. A ground out to the first baseman, Villarreal, and a ground out to the shortstop, Banda. First pitch is fouled back into the stands for strike one. Nothing in 1 to count to Rodriguez. Outside for ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count. Outside for ball 2. Swung on, hit hard to left field. Rodriguez moves back a few steps and easily makes the grab for the first out. So a pop-up to Evan Rodriguez out in left is the first out, and that'll bring up the third baseman, Rene Rios. Rios is 2 for 2 tonight. He's got a double and a single, but has yet to score. Left stranded in the second, thrown out at home in the fourth. Inside corner for a strike. Breaking ball, missing high for ball. Swung on and missed for strike three. That's going to bring up Josiah Villarreal, the starting pitcher, who has been relieved by Rios.
That is a Jaguars number 23, Josiah Villarreal.
Villarreal reached on an error in the second, hit a double in the fourth, and he also scored. He hit the first run of that three-run inning in the fourth inning for the Jaguars. First pitch high and away for ball one. One 1-0 pitch on its way. High for ball two. Swung on and fouled back for strike one. Not sure if he caught the umpire's foot. He's walking around a little gingerly there. Looks like he's good to go. Silva takes advantage to go talk things over with Reina. And Villarreal goes over and talks to the third base coach. So as we get back to the action, count is 2 balls and a strike to the batter, Josiah Villarreal. That is a breaking ball in there for strike two. Here comes the 2-2. Swung on, that goes into the netting right above the Panthers dugout, and the count will remain at 2 balls and 2 strikes. There are 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. Panthers still on top 4-3. That's a grounder to the third baseman, Lopez. Got him. That was a long throw by Lopez, but it was in time. Okay, the press box crew all saw what I saw, that it looked like he called him out. The motion, right? Now they're saying he's safe. Unless they're saying he was off the bag, because the throw was a little off. But Villarreal is a tall guy. So we'll put that down as a hit, because that was too close to call. So the Jaguars do have a runner aboard with 2 outs, and that'll bring up Jose Rios, the first baseman. Grounded out in the first, reached on a fielder's choice in the fourth. He also scored. So 1 away, or 2 away, excuse me, runner at first. Jose Rios at the plate.
Batting for Jaguars number 9, Jose Rios.
First pitch fouled back for strike 1. Reina goes to first. Back in, head first is Villarreal. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Snap throw to first, not in time. 0-2 is the count to Rios. Swung on, fouled back. Count will remain no balls and 2 strikes. Here comes the 0-2. Swung on. Villarreal, what a grab! Villarreal stretches out and snags that one for the 3rd out. The Jaguars get 1 hit, leave a runner stranded, but nobody scores, and we head to the bottom of the 5th. It's still your Panthers 4, the Jaguars 3. Panthers coming to bat here in the bottom of the 5th inning. It'll be Isaiah Garza, Joseph Banda, and Luis Lopez, 5, 6, and 7. All the face Rios.
Isaiah Garza.
First pitch, outside corner for strike 1. Garza is 0 for 2 tonight. Flew out to center field, grounded out to second. That pitch missing for ball 1. Swung on and missed, strike 1. Fouled back for strike 2. Garza calls time. Pitch missing low for ball 2. Rio steps off the rubber. Garza steps out of the box. 2-2 is the count. Missing outside for ball 3. That is a strikeout, catching the outside part of the plate. Caballero ringing Garza up. That's going to bring up Joseph Banda. Grounded out twice tonight. He's 0 for 2. Grounded out to the third baseman and to the pitcher. Outside for ball 1. Swung on and fouled back. 1 ball, 1 strike. Catcher Gilbert Rodriguez out to the mound to talk things over with the Rios. Short trip to the mound, a quick trip as well. Now he comes back. One is the count to Banda. Low for ball 2. Two-one count. Swung on and fouled back, and now it's 2-2. Two-two pitch. Low, count is full. Here comes the payoff pitch. Stepping off the mound is Rios. That's going to be ball 4. So the Panthers have a runner on in Banda with 1 out. That'll bring up Luis Lopez. Lopez is 0 for 2. He's grounded out to the shortstop and to the second baseman tonight.
Off the bat for your Panthers is number 20, Luis Lopez.
First pitch in the turf. And that'll send Banda to second. And the count is 1-0. Outside, ball 2. Outside, ball 3. Outside corner, strike 1. That one right at the knees for strike 2. So after falling behind 3-0, Rios comes back with 2 good pitches to make the count full. Here comes the payoff pitch. Swung on. That's going to be fair. That'll score 1 run. And Lopez on his way and adds himself an RBI double. And now your Panthers are up 5-3. That one right down the line. Banda scores. Lopez goes to second. And there's still just 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th, and that'll bring up Ethan Silva. Silva has walked twice tonight, and he's also scored twice tonight.
What about for your Panthers? Number 8, Ethan Silva.
Swings at the first pitch, fouls it back, strike 1. Low, ball 1. Ball gets away from the catcher, Rodriguez, but he keeps it pretty close. Runner cannot go to third, but the count now is 2 balls and a strike. Swung on, fly ball to center field. Carrion over to his left. Makes the grab, and tagging is Lopez going to third. So 2 outs and a runner 90 feet away, and that'll bring up Jesse Cantu. Cantu is 1 for 1 and a walk tonight. First pitch high for ball 1. Swung on, hit hard to left field. Concha going back. So does the center field Carrion, and Carrion is going to make the grab. Carrion has made 2 excellent grabs tonight here in this one. That's going to do it for your Panthers, but they do get 1 run in and now lead by 2. We played 5 innings, and it's your Panthers 5, the Jaguars 3. Reyna comes out in the 6th inning as your Panthers continue to lead this one by a score of 5-3. Due up for the Jaguars is batters 7, 8, and 9, Ardiel Benavides, Jose Perez, and Ramon Ramirez. Benavides is 1 for 2 tonight. Swings at the first pitch, and that gets by for a base hit. That may be a double, as Benavides does have some wheels. And with the exception of the first inning, the Jaguars have had their leadoff runner on.
Number 12, Jose Perez.
And that'll bring up Jose Perez, the left fielder. I'm sorry, the 5th inning they didn't have a lead runner on as well, but they did in the 2nd, 3rd, and 6th. And twice they've been by doubles. Showing bunt, doesn't get it down. Throw to second, and they did not get him. That was close. Good throw there by Silva. Showing bunt again. This time he lets it go for ball one. Again, shows bunt, lets it go, and it's ball two. And they've got the runner in a rundown. 2-6-5 throw out. First time didn't get him. Second time was a charm. So now there is no one on any base for the Jaguars. The count is 2 balls and a strike to the batter, Pettis. That is in there for strike 2. 2-2 count. Swung on, fly ball to right field. In comes the right fielder, and he makes the grab. Isaiah Garza comes in and just lays himself out forward for a grab that just is going to make the highlight reels tonight. And now it is the designated hitter, Ramon Ramirez. Ramirez is 1 for 2 tonight. Did reach on the strikeout in the 4th inning. Jaguar coach wants to make sure that that was an out. Has Ramon Guerra out on the bases, and he confirms that it was an out. So now we get back to the action. Ramirez in the box. First pitch missing high for ball one. Onside for ball two. That one does catch the corner for strike one. Fouled back, strike two. Swing and a miss, strike three. And that's going to do it for the Jaguars. They do get their leadoff runner on, but then gets thrown out trying to steal third, if you want to call it that. But the Jaguars, no runs, 1 hit, nobody left on. We head to the bottom of the 6th. It is your Panthers 5, the Jaguars 3. Panthers coming to bat here in the bottom of the sixth inning. It'll be batters 1, 2, and 3. Toby Perez, Evan Rodriguez, and John Reyna. First pitch, off-speed pitch, in there for strike one. Same pitch, this one fouled into third baseline. Third baseman going out and making the grab for out number one. And that's going to bring up Evan Rodriguez.
Back for your Panthers, number 15, Evan Rodriguez.
Hit by the first pitch, and he'll be on first base. So the Panthers get their first base runner aboard here in the sixth. And that'll bring up John Reyna. Reyna is 1 for 3. He singled in the first, struck out in the second, popped out in the fourth.
Back for your Panthers, number 32, John Reyna.
Swings at the first pitch, and that is going to be stopped by the shortstop, but that's still going to be a base hit. Good play there by Garcia as he was able to get all the way into the hole to knock it down. And there'll be a pinch runner for Reyna. And that'll be Solis.
Now batting for your Panthers, number 27, Abel Salinas.
We've got a pinch hitter for Castillo, and it's Abel Salinas. So with runners at first and second, 1 out, Salinas watches the first pitch go by for a strike. Swings at that one, that's knocked right up the middle. And that's going to be an RBI single for him. And now it is 6-3. Still just 1 out. And again, still runners at first and second. And that's going to bring up the right fielder, Isaiah Garza. He is 0 for 3 tonight. A fly out to center, a ground ball to second, and he struck out looking his last time at the plate in the fifth. Swings at the first pitch. In comes Carrion. And he makes a grab. Almost misplayed that. Which would be very unorthodox of him because he's made some great grabs out there in center field tonight. And with 2 outs, that'll bring up Joseph Banda, the shortstop. 2 outs, runners at first and second. Banda is 0 for 2 and a walk. He walked and scored in the fifth, grounded out in the third, grounded out in the second. First pitch is outside for ball one. Strike one. Not sure if he erased the first pitch or not. Ball gets away from the catcher. Runners will advance, so there's runners at second and third. And they did nullify the first pitch, so the count is 1-1 as the coach is asking there at third base. Outside for ball two. Low for ball three. Swung on and fouled back. The count is now full. Swung on. This is going to go out of play down the third base side of the field. Count will remain at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And that's going to do it for your Panthers. However, they do get one more run across to extend their lead as we head to the 7th inning. At the end of 6, it's your Weslaco Panthers 6, the Jaguars 3. Reina comes out for your Panthers in the 7th inning with your Panthers on top 6-3. And Reina will be facing the top of the order of the Jaguars. Batters 1, 2, and 3. It'll be Carrion, Garcia, and Rodriguez.
The Jaguars number 1, John Carrion.
Swing and a miss. Strike one. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count to Carrion. Panthers 3 outs away from punching their ticket to the postseason. Breaking ball, missing high for ball 2. That pitch is swung on and hit to left field, and that's Rodriguez under it for the first out. So 1 out away here in the first, and that's going to bring up Alex Garcia, the shortstop. Garcia is 0 for 3 tonight. He has struck out swinging every time he has faced Reina in this ball game. First pitch popped up behind the catcher, and it's going to land safely for strike 1. Nothing in 1 is the count on Garcia. That's on the outside corner. Count now is nothing in 2. Breaking ball, missing high for ball 1. One, 2 is the count. Swung on. Did he go around? They're going to say no. Check swing there by Garcia. Panther Nation was ready to call that one a strikeout. Here comes the 2-2. That time he did go around. And that is strikeout number 9 for Reina. Panthers 1 out away from punching their ticket to the postseason. Gilbert Rodriguez, the catcher, is up to bat for the Jaguars. He is 0 for 3. Grounded out to the first baseman in the first. Takes a crack at the first pitch to center field. Sliding is Toby Pettis, and that is out number 3. And your Panthers win this one by the final score of 6-3. John Reina pitches a complete game. 9 strikeouts on the night. Panthers win 6-3. They will finish out the regular season in Edinburg on Friday as they close out the season against these same Jaguars, this time in Edinburg. Want to thank Joseph Hale for his great job on the computer. Vinny Berry on the camera. I am Joe Aguilar saying good night from Weslaco, Texas, the Panther baseball field, as your Weslaco Panthers defeat the Edinburg Economedes Jaguars. The final score of this one is the Edinburg Jaguars 3, your Weslaco Panthers 6. We'll see you guys in the postseason right here on KWES.